notice she did that without looking at sheet music.
When he was 5 years old.
Robert. Robert.
It'd be great to start our morning with Mozart. And now would you join me in lighting the chalice? The words are in your order of service. We like to speak of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, celebration of the life we share together.
And as the flame is lit, use this time to quiet your heart, quiet your soul. Get ready for our service today. Thank you. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Low Country. My name is Charlie Tyler. I'm the minister here. We have several others that support us in this, and you'll be hearing from one later on in our service today. And we certainly appreciate the skill and the tasks that are accomplished here in this place on Sunday morning. Ms. Lillian, thank you so much for restoring hope in humanity. You probably don't understand that, but every one of us, our spirits soared at that. So, Mom and Dad, well done. Guests and visitors. If you're a first-time or second-time guest or visitor, we'd love to hear your name and for you to tell us a little bit about where you're from, because there's probably somebody else that's from there too in this place today. So I'm going to look to my far right side, your far left side. And are there any first or second time visitors in the back or on this side? And in the middle, first or second time visitors. And on my far left, your right. Yes, sir, if you would please. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me. I'm Ryan Kirby. It's my second time back. I came last Sunday. Can't come out the time because my work schedule is complicated, but I will come when I can. It's been a very warm environment, and I feel very well.
Thank you. Any other visitors or guests that have been neglected? So I want to... Oh, I'm sorry.
We've been a few times, but we brought my grandmother here. She's from Maryland, and she is excited to be here. We're excited to have her here. We're excited to bring her here to show her because it's a great place to be.
So are we. Thank you. Am I missing anybody else? So David Nels, am I pronouncing that right, David? Your badge is here. If you would come up. You can weave your way through all of that. Thank you, David. He says he's going to wear it with pride. Anne, why don't you come on up and make some of your announcements I know you have on your mind.
Yeah, hi everybody. Over here. Hello. I'm Ann Harrison, and I'm the Director of Religious Education here. I have a couple of announcements. One is, you may have seen it on our weekly email or heard about it a little bit last week, but next Sunday is our UUCL annual cookie sale. And the way that works is that we invite you, if you would like to, come to church next Sunday and bring with you 1 or 2 dozen cookies of your choice. And then at the door, you'll be greeted by the children who will accept those cookies, and we will take them to the conference room and we'll set them up so that after the service, you will have the opportunity to come in, take a plate, go around the table and take one of each or one of whatever you like, and make yourself a little assortment of a variety of holiday goodies for $5 a plate. Or what you would like to give. It's just a little fun, another little fun fundraiser that the kids are working on. We haven't done it for a few years, but we're looking forward to having some fun with that next Sunday. Also, Charlie Tyler and I will be leading another session of the Path to Belonging, which is a 3 consecutive Sunday class giving you information about Unitarian Universalism and about this congregation in particular. Gives you enough to know ahead of time so that you could make a decision about becoming a member, an informed decision. We were going to do it the last 3 Sundays of January, but we've changed that a little bit. We're going to do it the last 2 Sundays of January and the first Sunday of February. So we would just want you to save those dates. And another date that I will ask you to save is April 5th. It's way down the road, but there are little tiny handouts by the door that give you a little more information about what we are going to do on Saturday night, April 5. We'll be having an evening called UUCL's Got Talent. And it will be a talent show with members and friends that believe they have talent will be performing for all of us for our enjoyment that night. And then the last thing is that today, after the service and after the talk back, we will have the next session of our workshop on transitions. And so those of you that are participating, just a reminder that that is today. And I think the only other thing I might mention is that you may have seen, as you came into the foyer this morning, you may have seen the prayer flags that are hanging. Maybe take a closer look as you leave today. They were made by the kids. The last couple of Sundays we've been working on those, and we will leave them hanging until the end of the year. Okay. I think that's it. Yeah.
Thank you, Ann. We rejoiced in the way that your ministry here continues to grow. The kids continue to gather around you. Congratulations. I want you to notice some of the speakers that are coming up later on in the month. Dick Hood is here with us today. Pat Joe will be here next Sunday. Somebody else will be there the Sunday after that. And I want you to notice that on the 22nd, our service will be at 5 o'clock on that Sunday. We will not meet in the morning, and it will take the shape of a candlelight service. So please be prepared for that and make note of that, and please be here. Last year was particularly meaningful and special, and I'm looking forward to this year again too. On Saturday, January the 11th, you'll see the announcement in your bulletin that Brian Ashley Jones and Melanie Jean will be with us on Music on Malthus. That particular program that we have going on here with Music on Malthus, or MOM, as it's come to be called, has been particularly meaningful and has touched an awful lot of hearts. So I hope that you will want to be there, take the time to come, and encourage the performers. I think that's all the announcements I have to make. Are there others in the room? Yes, if you would, Steve. Yeah, come on up. I know.
You can dance around there like Ann. So, the safety and security team has put together I want to learn CPR and AED. On January 7th, it'll be here at 10 a.m. right here. I have the fellows from Bluffton Fire District coming out. That's a non-accredited course, so it's just learning about it. It doesn't cost any money, that's why I signed up to do that. If you'd like to sign up, the sign-up sheet will be in the foyer. Please sign up. So, January the 7th. Thank you.
Those of you that are visiting, you have come into a congregation that will save your life. No small thing. Anybody else? Dick Hood is my friend. His wife Molly and the three of us enjoy each other's company. And it pleases me to be able to welcome Dick here back to the pulpit on this particular Sunday, and to share some of the things that matter to him. And so, Dick, if you would please, come and bring your opening words.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope has been, the past few weeks, a little bit in short supply. But take a look over here at this corner. That's hope. That's it. Yeah, we'll come this far. Before I read the call to worship, I want to reassure you that David and Sarah has not lost his mind. Maybe. No, not David, for sure. Somehow, he printed this photograph on the front of the program, the worship program, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. I take full blame. He did it at my request, so don't believe that he's just pulling photographs off the internet randomly and placing them here. That's the little teaser, so you'll pay attention during the sermon to figure out why did he ever put this photograph on a church bulletin. Fair enough. The opening words this morning are by a woman named Rebecca Savage. Welcome, beloveds, welcome. We come to spiritual community this morning with many hopes in our hearts. We come for inspiration. We come to hope for comfort. We come to hope for renewal. In this time and space, may inspiration water our thirsty souls. In this time and space, may comfort blossom in the gardens of our hearts and bring sweet relief. In this time and space, may renewal course through us and bring us vitality and rejuvenation. May our time together honor all the hopes we hold within. May our time together bless us with the gifts of inspiration, comfort, and love. May we worship together. Our opening hymn this morning, we're doing a learning experience. It's number 225, appropriate for the Advent season, and we will be singing verses 1 and 2. Please rise as you are willing and able.
And now sharing from our abundance, on behalf of the Sandalwood Food Bank and Bluffton Self-Help, thank you very much for the food donations you bring, non-perishable items, weekly leave on the table in the back. And sustaining our community, freely have we received of gifts that minister to our needs of body and spirit. Gladly we bring to our church and its wide concerns a portion of this bounty. And as we pass the baskets, those of you who are visitors the first time or two, please let the baskets pass as your presence here is our gift. Thank you for your generosity.
This is the time we share our joys and concerns. If you want to share a joy, we'll be delighted that you do. If you have a concern you wish to share, we hope to comfort you. So come forward. If you need to share, tell us who you are. Take a stone from the basket, and after you've told us your concern, put the basket in the can.
Did I do something funny? Again, put the basket, whatever you feel like. I hate when I hear snickering.
My name is Lynn, and I have a joy, and that is this beautiful altar cloth, the table for our joys and concerns that our member, Beth Reiners, made for us. Beautiful fabric and workmanship. And she just quietly put it on the table. It's a lovely work of art. And she also made a blue cover, little for the top of it, which we changed to green yesterday when we decorated for the holidays. But thank you so much, Beth.
So I'm David, I'm your congregational administrator here. And just to kind of follow up on what Ann said about in April we have UUCL's Got Talent, and this congregation has a lot of talent. I have an example right here in my hand. The Island Writers Network has been around for 25 years, celebrating the 25th anniversary this year. And the group, myself included, just released a brand new anthology called Sea Change. So this book is dedicated to a longtime UUCL member and friend that many of you still remember, Bill Newby. Remember Bill Newby? Okay, Bill, a few years back, did move to Ohio to be with his family. One of the editors on this book is Iago Cohen. I don't see Iago and Dave back there with the dog. They're the ones with the dog that you see. So Iago Cohen is one of the editors on this book, and she also, a lot of her writing is featured in this book. Dave Rosenberg is also featured in this book here. You might not know a guy named Richard Kamen, but he's a member who spends some time here and a lot of time living in Mexico. So he's featured in this book as well. Is Diane Villari here? Diane, did you make it in today? No. Diane Villari is another one. Nobody showed up, so. What about you? I guess I would also have to say that I'm in this book as well. So, and I actually got one, what I thought was a really great compliment. My editor, when they read my story, they said, you know, this could be an episode of The Twilight Zone. So, those of you that remember The Twilight Zone, it's really cool. So, this is on Amazon. If you want to know where to get it, you can see me after. And just wanted to share that this is out now, celebrating 25 years of the Island Writers Network. And UUCL folks are featured all throughout it. So, anyway. By the way, this is for you, Beth. Beth is one of my beta readers, so as a thank you, that's for her.
I have a niece named Courtney. Courtney is 41 or 42, and she's had a very difficult life, and she has just put a deposit down on an apartment building. She lives in New York City. She's been waiting for a few years to get into one of the apartments buildings. She's so excited. I'm very proud of her. Unfortunately, her family was like, well, how are you going to afford that? And I'm just like, she works really hard. She's accomplished a lot, all on her own, without any help from her family. And this is for Courtney. I'm very proud of you. And while I'm here, does anyone need a king-size bed? Let me know.
So I have two things. One, some of you know Marvin, who's been a member for a long, long time. Well, he has a daughter, June, and June's husband, Mike. So a lot of us know that Mike has been dealing with a lot of health issues. And so they go up to MUSC quite often because he's got to have some things done up there. So they go through a whole day of terrible up there, and they finally are done. They've had to stay overnight. It's a big deal. And they have to drive home. And on the way home, they got in a car accident. Somebody hit them hit the car behind them, and then hit them. And then they get this ding, whatever. They pull over the side of the road. Now they got to wait for the police. And remember what they'd just been through? Now they're in the middle of that. And so they have to get out. The police have to come. They have to stand there on the median and wait. And while they're doing that, these little red fire ants come out and bite Mike. He's allergic to them. I know. It doesn't sound like, And so that happened. And then a couple days later, I was going to have lunch with June, but she had to cancel because Mike now has kidney stones. Either that or she just didn't want to have lunch with me. But I think it was that. Think about them, because they just definitely need some of our good, positive thoughts, because things are going off the rails. Then, the other thing that I wanted to say was, there's a birthday in the house. Yeah, there's a birthday in the house. That little girl that just played the piano, her mom is having a birthday, Allison. So let's just sing a little round for her. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Allison. Happy birthday to you.
Betsy and I didn't coordinate this morning. I didn't have a chance to talk to her. She usually does our care committee announcements. But Tish House, many of you know, has long COVID, and she wrote me and asked if I'd thank everyone for all the support she's been getting. She's feeling better some days, but she doesn't want to be around crowds quite yet, and she's waiting for an appointment with a clinic for long COVID care. So anyway, I think after the announcement about Mike, it's important to know that all of the messages and cards really do make a difference.
I have this card for the day that I come up here and forget the whole deal. I'm going to put 2 stones in the cairn for the joys and concerns that remain in your hearts. I'm then going to put a stone in the cylinder as a remembrance for all the children in this country who died from gunfire. We want to keep them and their families in our hearts. We also have a stone for you if you'd like to take one as a personal remembrance for these children. Now will you join me in reading together Affirmation 468 in the back of your hymnal. We need one another when we mourn and would be comforted. We need one another when we are in trouble and afraid. We need one another when we are in despair, in temptation, and need to be recalled to our best selves again. We need one another when we would accomplish some great purpose and cannot do it alone. We need one another in the hour of success when we look for someone to share our triumphs. We need one another in the hour of defeat when with encouragement we might endure and stand again. We need one another when we come to die and with our gentle hands prepare us for the journey. All our lives we are in need, and others are in need of us.
When I was in high school, my father was an English teacher right in the same school that I was in. And, one semester in my junior year, I did not get an A. In fact, I got a C, which was totally unacceptable in my dining room, for sure. And I got a C because two things. First of all, I made the mistake. The lady gave us an assignment to write a question and then answer it. And so I wrote, "Can an atheist be religious?" And I answered positively. She wrote back and gave me a C- because she said the terms contradict one another and the whole thing was meaningless. I also didn't do well on the literary terms question because I confused alliteration and allegory. I don't know why, but I wrote a very nice essay about what I thought was allegories, but I used the term alliteration. Therefore, it didn't make any sense. Having said that, I am ready to try, after 60 some odd years, to present to you this morning an allegory. Or maybe it's something else. I don't know. I'm still a little confused. Quite frankly, I hope you get a few laughs out of it. We could all use a few laughs. So while there is a message, I hope, if you laugh, please feel free. But I thought I ought to clear up exactly what an allegory is, because I'm still confused in my own life. So I Googled it, because you know Google is always right. And it said a story that can be interpreted to reveal a number of hidden meanings. For example, The Tortoise and the Hare, Animal Farm, and even Alice in Wonderland is an allegory. I'm going to try my hand, but there's a little bit of difference in that this story, my allegory, is true. And well, at least 90% true. I admit there's a 10% of embellishments, but hopefully you won't be able to know the difference between truth and my literary embellishments. Okay, enough of that. Allegory. May 14th, 2024, my wife and I arrived, as we do each summer for a number of years, at our cottage in Maine. And when we arrived, of course, we don't have any food in the cottage because you don't want to leave food to meld over 6 months that you are away. So the very next morning, the first thing that we do is we go to the supermarket. And we live in the country, so there's really only one supermarket within about a 25-mile radius of a large major supermarket like Publix here. And we walk in, and I noticed that the entranceway looked like it had been perhaps painted or new lighting or something, but that didn't seem to make much of a difference. When we get in, I have to stop and explain that my wife and I have two different philosophies about how to grocery shop. My philosophy is, look at the bananas, look at 2 bunches, pick one out, put it on the shelf. The main purpose of being in a grocery store is to get out of the grocery store. Your applause is welcome, George. My wife, on the other hand, her main purpose is to get the best quality food. So she, when she's picking out bananas, looks at least 10, perhaps more, narrows it down to 3, and then re-examines them before one goes in. Consequently, we don't shop together a lot, but this is the major shopping this time of the year. And so we separate on this particular episode of grocery shopping because I can't stand looking at 12 different bunches of bananas. And so what we do is I go off and I get some grocery items that I know where they are and I know we need them because it's the first grocery shopping of the year. So we get in, she goes to the bananas, and I say, I'm going to go get the peanut butter. Why? Because every American household needs peanut butter. Bar none, bar none. And because we've been going to the same place for almost 50 years, I know where the peanut butter is. The peanut butter is on aisle 6. And if you don't believe it, look at your bulletin. The peanut butter is on aisle 6. So I go to aisle 6, and I know that the peanut butter is right next to the jelly. Makes sense, right? So I get to the jelly, and I look to the right, and there is maple syrup. I look to the left. Must be I forgot. I look to the left, and I don't even remember what was there. It might have been lima beans or something that didn't make any sense whatsoever. Where is the peanut butter? Well, it must be in aisle 6. I'm in denial that it's not in the aisle. And so I go up the aisle, back down, looking on both sides now of aisle 6, and back up again because I'm in denial. That darn peanut butter is in this aisle. And then I look, and even the sign says peanut butter is in aisle 6. But it isn't. A young man, probably was 17 or 18, but have you ever noticed as you get older, people look younger? So he looked at me about 14. And he had a little button that said, "Hi, may I help you?" Yes. Where's the peanut butter? Oh, well, the peanut butter's right here, see, aisle 6. I went from denial to starting to get angry. And the more we went, the angrier I got. And at one point, after he had looked a cursory glance up and down aisle 6, he didn't see any peanut butter. I even said to him, hey, if you can find peanut butter on aisle 6, I'll give you $1. Well, nobody ever said that to me. I was a grocery clerk. I'm trying, Lord. Would you look into that, please? I was a grocery clerk once, and nobody ever offered me $1, so he went off again and went up aisle 6 and down aisle 6, and son of a gun, he came back and said, well, sir, no, the peanut butter is not here. And I said, and you're not getting $1. Fortunately, he's rescued by a guy who was at least in his 20s. And he had that same button on, but he had a vest on, and he had a bunch of keys hanging down. So he must have been the manager. And by this time, my anger is increasing because that bargain that I tried to make with the young guy didn't pan out. And I said, I don't see any peanut butter here. And he goes, oh yeah, see the sign? yeah, I see the sign. I said, I see the sign, and there is no peanut butter. Well, the anger was there, but I decided that I really probably needed to apologize to the manager how poorly I had treated that 14-year-old boy. That I'd taken advantage of him, and really, I didn't mean to. I was angry about that sign that's obviously wrong, and I sort of lost it a little bit, and that's not something that I care for much. And so he looks at, well, I certainly understand. I can understand you might be a little depressed, because by that time I was a little depressed. You might want to try aisle 8. Okay. I go over to aisle 8, and I look, and right next to the maple syrup is the peanut butter. This is a trite example of how things can go wrong. It's a trite example of times in our lives when it just doesn't seem right. The wheels seem to be coming off in our life. And I know it's just peanut butter, but for me, it was an experience that I grew angry, I grew denied, and I depressed, and I bargained, and I was ready just to say, I'm going to another grocery store. Not shopping here anymore, but son of a gun, there's no other grocery store around. So, end of story. However, I get to aisle 8, and I want Skippy Chunky. Thank you, Barbara. I want Skippy Chunky, and they didn't have any Skippy Chunky. Didn't even have any Skippy. I had to take Jif Creamy. What happens when the wheels fall off? What happens? How do we respond to adversity? How do we respond at times when things just don't seem to be going our way? How do we respond when our values are questioned? How do we respond when things that we believe are true and have believed for many, many years aren't true, or don't seem to be true, or are denied by other people, like that silly peanut butter episode I just described? Those are serious questions raised by a stupid jar of peanut butter. I think I have some answers. And ironically, the answers have actually come from listening to other people standing here in this pulpit, at least in part. Some of it comes from perhaps some of my past experience, but most of it comes right from what has already been said to you in some previous Sundays. First of all, when things don't go our way, when things we think are true aren't true, when our very core 7 principles kind of values are called into question, how do we respond? Well, I think we respond in a similar fashion to the way that a lady named Elizabeth Kubler-Ross talked about responding to death and dying. For those of you who are not familiar with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, she spent her life studying grief. And she just wrote a book that's really been part of sort of my inner understanding about how people handle death. And she says that there are 5 stages that you go through when someone that you love passes. The first one is denial. It's usually short-lived, but you deny. You deny death. Anger, which is a copingism that we can blame other people for things. Bargaining. It's kind of a hope that somehow if we bargain that we could get the person back, or at least we can somehow make do with the situation. Depression, a period of perhaps understanding, but a period of intense feeling. And there's one other that I'll hold for a little bit, one other stage. And we here have heard other people talk about that, sometimes in a roundabout way, but sometimes quite specifically. And we realize that when the wheels come off, we can respond best if we are in community with people who are like us, who agree with us, who reinforce those values that are so much in question. We need community to understand that even though other people are saying things aren't true that we believe are true, we need the reinforcement of others to get through that. Not an easy thing. We also need community to provide comfort, to provide listening, to provide an atmosphere where we are not judged for what we believe and what is right or wrong, but who are sympathetic or empathetic at least, and will hold our hand or give us a hug, maybe when it's needed. We also need family. We need friends. We need neighbors, even perhaps neighbors that don't agree with us. That how we work through situations where the wheels come off is working through other people. Introspection, okay. but it is really the balm of healing that we can provide to one another that makes all the difference. Finally, a little addition to the story. We got home, and I helped unpack the groceries, and yep, there it was, no Skippy Chunky for me. I had to take Jif Creamy. But I still had a hankering, and you know what I had for lunch? A peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And no, it wasn't really satisfying, but it was at least filling. And frankly, that was an act of Kubler-Ross's fifth stage, of acceptance, of the understanding that we can still believe and hold dear to our values, our 7 principles, our assumptions of truth, even if sometimes we're not in the majority. Life goes on. We don't always find peanut butter. We don't always find the peanut butter that we want. And yet, we are among friends. Amen.
Get lost before you get found. Ain't no better way to learn your way around. Gotta get bruised, gotta get rolled, gotta jump back in the ring when you're knocked out cold. Funny thing, this life.
David and Sarah, you were talking about the talent that's in this place, and we just saw it wildly displayed. Thank you so much for that and the gifts that were there. Well done. Thank you, Dick Hood, for the fabulous double entendres that I have been listening to during your speech today, because now I know that denial is on aisle 6, and aisle 6 does not have peanut butter, and there's another aisle altogether for that, for a new round of denial. I won't go buy a peanut butter aisle again without not stopping and smiling. For all the volunteers that make this work, I want to thank you, those that are in the kitchen, those that are on security, those who are helping in Sunday school, those who are using and working the soundboard. Thanks, guys, back there. So everything that you have brought here has brought us to a great place. And we can't do any of this without your heart, without your help and your hands. So thank you that are volunteering for this. And for those who decorated yesterday, thank you for them. The place looks fabulous, and I always look forward to seeing what happens at Christmas time around here. For those of you that are visiting today, thank you for being here and for trusting us for an hour of your time. I hope that it has been meaningful to you. Usually we find that it is, so thank you for coming. Anything else we need to talk about? Any announcements that I need to remake? And so if I can, the unison reading. Dick, if you would, please.
I heard a couple of people, yes, we will have talk back today. You can come and smear me with all the peanut butter that you might. For our closing words this morning, we have a very brief unison reading. It's number 601. May we read together. When all the people of the world love, then the strong will not overpower the weak. The many will not oppress the few. The wealthy will not mock the poor. The honored will not disdain the humble. The cunning will not deceive the simple.
Shall we stand together now and extinguish the chalice? While we extinguish this flame, we still carry in our hearts the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment until we are together again.
Nobody shows up.
Oh, wait, look at this. Look at this. This is I bet hers is She ran out? Is that her way over there? Yeah, that's
I didn't realize she had done that.